When you say we're back, we're live.
Well, I usually chit-chat a little bit of bullshit between me and you. Like right now, it just went from this page over to this page, and now I'm watching it connect to all the different platforms. So we're gonna be across about 5 or 6 different platforms, and then I'm already watching. We're connecting YouTube, all of them. Holy smokes, man! We're really on all of them, and
you gotta be a scientist to do all that.
What's that?
You got to be a scientist to do all
No,
that.
you know what? If you can run a depth sounder, GPS, a water maker, and MTU engines nowadays, you can do this. This is easy. So
I had to call somebody to help me share on Facebook last night.
oh, don't worry, I just did it for you. And we are back. Here I am, Fly Navarro, in the No BS World Tour. I've got Captain Jeff Wilson from the Tighten Up joining us today. Captain Jeff, how are you, sir?
Good, good.
Are you excited?
Well, yeah, except maybe for the fact you got me on the day after a living legend like Pete Grossbeck.
Hey, man, that's between you and Pete. But you guys, I think, graduated from the same high school, if I'm correct. Is that true?
No.
Same year?
No,
I love it.
I love Pete.
Pete is awesome, man. He's got some great stories.
I talked to him last night, and I told him he should write a book.
He should write a book. He's got some great stories. Oh, man, you got people. I see Kevin Dearman's already watching. I told you the whole state of Texas. I got my friend Sean from South Africa watching as well. We got some worldwide. You're going to have some worldwide people watching today. And I'm going to give a couple minutes before I give Bill a shout out. Oh, Christina's on. So if Christina's on, we know Bill's probably watching. Tiny Walcott is in there. So I just want to see. I don't see any comments on that side. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start sharing. While I do that, why don't you let everybody know who you are, where you're from, what boat you run, and then we're going to talk about what you did yesterday.
All right. Jeff Wilson, 40-plus year boat captain, sport fishing. I run the Tighten Up. It's a 64 Viking. It's owned by the controlling owner of the Tennessee Titans.
So, are you saying that non-Tennessee Titan people should not be watching today?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay. I'm just, I gotta ask. Anyway, so go ahead.
40 years in the business, these are the nicest people I've ever worked for. And Amy is just, what she does is outstanding. The last hurricane we had here, she donated $1 million to the J.J. Watt Fund, a rival in their own division, but that's just the way they are.
You know what? But J.J. Watt is a cool dude. I mean, what he does for the community is second to none. It's amazing what he does for his community there in Houston. So, actually, we got a shout out from Bill Black, not the famous one, the other one. I didn't realize how many Billy Blacks there are out there. But Bill Black says this is so much better than the news. Thank you so much. We're going to start calling this like WFLY TV. And then after the No BS tour, we're going to do like all my friends doing all their fishing stories. That's all I want. So anyway, I keep interrupting you because people keep joining in. So you're in Galveston, Texas, correct?
Yes, I moved here about 10 years ago, and actually was lucky enough to be part of pioneering daytime sword fishing in the Gulf of Mexico. And right to present time, I actually hit a milestone yesterday. I went over 600 swordfish in 10 years.
Holy smokes!
Sitting on 605 now.
605. That's a lot of swordfish.
I know the numbers sound crazy, but I documented everything, and it was a hell of a ride. And When I took this job here 4 years ago, they were very much interested in the sword fishing, and we did a lot of it at first. And lately, we got tuna tubes 2 winters ago, and since then we've been doing a lot more blue marlin fishing, live baiting. But in fact, that's what we did on this last trip. We went blue marlin fishing, but if you find no current at the rigs here, the kudas and the sharks leave the rig, and they just you can't get away from them. We tried live baiting; they ate everything. We tried trolling. If you slowed down, the sharks were eating the ballyhoo. They were eating the teasers. It was crazy. So we stayed at this one rig that night, and we caught like 8 yellowfins, but they were all you wanted there. We quit at 8 because we were catching them on light tackle, and loaded the box there. So the next day we tried it again, no success. Same thing, kudas and sharks. So we ran to the next rig, which was like 25 miles away. Marked a lot more bait, looked good, but it was even worse. They were ravenous there. So at 10:30 in the morning, we've already been to 2 rigs and tried 20 things, and nothing's working. So I said, guys, what do you want to do? Do you want to go bottom fishing or do you want to go sword fishing? They said sword fishing. So I literally picked a spot off the chart. It was like 12, 14 miles away, and we went to it. And on the first drop, we were tight within less than a minute.
Wow.
And it was that the rest of the day. And by the time we quit fishing just before dark, we had caught 10.
You caught 10 swordfish yesterday.
Yes. And this was all on a 50 Talica, hand crank.
That's all you do over there in Texas?
All we do.
So before you continue, there's a couple of people that have joined in here I got to give shout-outs to because they're just my buddies. I got Richard Gunn from Lucas Oil, and I got Paul from Angle Coolers. You always got to give sponsors shout-outs. But the one person I really want to bring in here, Abdullah Anif from the Maldives. They actually caught their very first daytime swordfish 2 weeks ago. They have been trying this for years. And Abdullah, I was going to send him a quick text message, and I ran out of time. He's been joining us, so I think it's like 4 o'clock in the morning right now in the Maldives. But he joins every day, so I'm glad that he's watching here because they are big-time fans of that daytime sword fishing. And just like you, they hand crank. So I want to give him a big shout-out.
We're very fortunate here. I mean, I've fished in Texas or in Florida, too. And you got 3 to 6 knots of current on any given day. You have to work a lot harder to set up and start fishing there than we do here. With the light current, we literally put a 7-pound.
Well, you know what? Let's start from the very beginning. Let's start. You say you're fishing with Talicas. You're fishing with 50 Talicas?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
With 80 braid.
80-pound braid. So it's all braid. And then you tie that to?
A wind on, which is, I make 65 feet long.
65 feet long. Okay.
With a drop loop right up by the Dacron.
Okay. And then?
And then you're going to have a swivel in your leader, which I usually make 5 to 6 feet long in your bait.
Okay, so you have a swivel. Okay. So you have all of that. Where do you connect your lights, your weights? Let's go so everybody knows exactly what you're doing. That you don't have trademark. If you have trademark, you don't have to tell us. You can just say, "Fly, my attorney doesn't let me talk about it." NFL, we're protecting the league. Whatever you want, and I'm not going to dive deep into it.
I'm not big on secrets. I like to help people see if they can. If I give somebody some information and then they put it to good use and they catch a fish, that makes me happy.
Okay, good.
And I feel like that's what it's all about, helping people out and having other people enjoy the sport, But as far as the wind on, from the top of the wind on, we'll start there and work our way down to the hook.
Okay.
Just at the top of the wind on, you usually have like 4 to 6 foot of braid, Dacron. And, it's a double served wind on. So then you have a dropper loop. That's where what we call the control weight's going to go. The control weight's just a 3-pound ball lead, short piece of line, and a long line clip. So that's going to clip right on that dropper loop. All right, now going 65 feet down, before you put your swivel on down there, slide 2 lights on. Now we use those hard diamond lights.
The small one, the little small ones.
The hard ones, yeah, the hard ones.
Okay.
So they make all different kinds of colors and whatnot. Your preference. Now, secret, I also use a rattle.
A rattle?
I've been using a rattle for a long time, and it really works.
So, just like an empty, like a plastic with a couple of BBs in there?
Yeah, it's usually about yay long, and it's glow in the dark.
Okay.
And it's right on the line. It has a bullet front on it, so it's going to trap. And what I usually do is put a rubber band on each side so it slides just a little bit.
All right.
Now, my reasoning for the rattle might sound a little crazy, but the number one fish or bait or food for swordfish is squid. Squid have beaks. If you got a whole whole school of squid around and you're in the water, you're going to hear clicking. To me, that's
what the rattle's for.
Does it work? Does it make it better? I don't know.
Yeah, but you feel confident in it, so that's what you do.
Yep. So then you, from the swivel going back up the rod, usually about 3 arm lengths for the first light, and you just take a number 16 rubber band, go right over the top of the light, around the line 10 times, and then back over the light again.
Okay.
You do that another three arm lengths, and you put the second light. Those are set up with the 16 rubber band so that when you get to the rod tip with those lights, you just keep winding. Rubber band breaks, and just slides down the line.
The rubber band will break, and
rubber band will break when you get to the rod tip.
Okay, but the light will just slide right on down.
Slide right on down to the end of the leader.
Oh, perfect.
So it's some people try to attach them on the line, but then you got to take them off.
Exactly.
You know. So the way we deploy is I take a bait. You got your hook. Got a hook right here.
Coming with a hook.
That's my squid. We'll just say that's my squid.
Okay.
This is what we use. This is a window sash. You know the weights that they have inside the old style windows?
Yeah, slide it a little bit closer to your face. There you go, so people can see it. There we go.
All right, and then this is just utility wire right here, usually like number 19. So we make this up. All we do is put this utility wire on here. We paint them with a plastic dip just so it doesn't get rust on the boat. And then your bait's here, and you just put this on here, and you're literally going to lower all that into the water. And then when you get to the dropper loop, you're going to put your 3-pound ball lead clip on there, and then you're just going to let it go. And just let it fly straight down to the bottom. Keeping an eye on it really closely, so when it hits, you give it just a little bit of slack, and then you turn the handle, and 9 times out of 10, it's off.
So that rubber lead, it's disposable. It just stays down there. Okay.
Yeah. These window sashes are getting harder and harder to find, so rebarb's probably the next step. And a lot of people are already using rebarb.
Okay.
Some people use concrete. Some people, that's too porous for me. I want to get there in a hurry. But that's basically the rig, and then you drop it down to the bottom, and we usually line it up about 30 turns on a Talica just to get it off the bottom.
So for people that don't understand what the Talica and their retrieve ratio, 30 turns will put it about how far off the bottom?
Roughly 100 feet.
Okay.
So you want to get it up off the bottom. And then the key here is we check bottom quite often. You want to keep going back down and hit bottom and wind it back up. That's moving the lights through the water. That's making sure that if you're going uphill, you're not snagging. And if you're going downhill, you're getting the bait in the optimal position. So we started doing this when I first took the job here, and these guys learned it. I got Bill as the husband. He's my angler.
Okay.
Tommy and Christina are married. Those are my anglers. They're roughly 29 years old each. I call them kids. But,
I would call them kids, too. If you're in your 20s, I'm calling you a kid.
These 3 people are absolutely ate up with everything that has to do with fishing.
That is awesome.
They're into it. They're part of the Houston Big Game Fishing Club. I think Christina's won 3 or 4 Female Angler of the Year awards now. I mean, for a female angler, we got a good one.
That's awesome.
Tommy, he loves every aspect of it. He also loves, he's kind of like a little thing for tuna fishing. We got to get a little tuna fishing in there. And he's the one who's taking all the pictures. You know, he got a new camera last year, and he's really new to this, and he's doing really good with the pictures. I mean, you saw the one.
Yeah, no, the pictures that I was grabbing today were awesome.
It's crazy. He's getting some great shots. Last year, our first trip last year, we went 3 for 3 on Blue Marlin, caught one over 650, and the fish ran dead into the sun the whole time. It was right at the end of the day, and he got some pictures of that. And because it was into the sun, they looked like black and white, and it just came out really cool.
I was going to ask if that was the one. It's on your page. It's on Christina's page. It looks black and white. Leaders coming across from his left side over his back.
Yep.
Okay, great shot.
Christina caught that.
Okay.
That fish was over 650. It was a great fish, hard fish. I had it in reverse full throttle the entire time.
Really? To stay up with the fish?
It was crazy fish. And,
last year you guys fished my swordfish tournament, and I'm hoping that Bill's here because we were talking about this before we started broadcasting. I am willing to put a red phone right here, right next to the computer, so that because you guys, I believe you guys caught 5 swordfish during the tournament, and Bill kept calling me, and he was the go-between, and I enjoyed it very much. But I'm willing to give him, and if you guys are going to go and catch 10, I'm going to give him a red phone, almost like from the White House to the Kremlin, and all I have to do is say, "Hello, Bill? Hello?" And he can give me your fishing report. I'm okay with that. Bill, if you're watching, we don't even need wires anymore. This is all wireless nowadays. This isn't like back in the 70s, which I'm totally dating myself right now. I would have run a wire straight to Bill. So we'll put your little phone right here, and I'll just shoot. We can even go live. We can do video FaceTiming now.
Right.
So
yeah, our go-between. I can't remember exactly why he wasn't on the trip with us, but he was our go-between.
I think it was a preseason game because it was July 27th. Or last year was July 27th. So I know that's like right there, preseason beginning. There was something that had to do with the NFL that he wasn't able to go.
Very well. Could have just had to be in Tennessee at the time, you know. But that tournament there, we caught 5 fish before 11 a.m. and then got chased off our spot by a storm and never had a bite after.
Man.
It was crazy.
So not very many people understand or know that Texas is such a good spot for sword fishing.
Phenomenal. I mean, Texas and Louisiana, the charter boats over there, the Venice guys, that's a regular part of their deal now. Go out, get your tuna, stop and get a swordfish on the way in. I mean, there's a lot of guys doing it, and they're good at it.
I have to ask, because I know a lot of the guys that participated in last year's worldwide swordfish tournament, they're like, "Oh, it's not fair. Us here in the Gulf of Mexico, we need a 100-pound handicap." Listen, I listen to what people say. I can't give away a 100-pound handicap because that's not fair. But what I did do is I created regional Calcuttas so that everybody in the Gulf can compete against everybody in the Gulf. And so that's what I did. So you're still competing in a worldwide event, but now everybody in the Gulf of Mexico is competing against everybody in the Gulf of Mexico.
Well, I like that, and I understand where the people what they were saying about it. We catch a lot of fish here, but it's gotten rarer and rarer to catch the big girl. You know, I'm actually part of the state record here. We caught a 493. The fish was over 5, but we didn't weigh it for 72 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. So, it's kind of rough when it got in too. But, you know, I've actually caught plenty of, I've probably caught a half a dozen in the 4s, quite a few in the 3s. But recently, in the last 5 years, I'd say, they've been smaller on average. Yesterday's fish, well, let's see, we caught 2 that were under 100, and the rest were all between 100 and 180, I'd say.
Still not bad.
Well, yeah, and when you're catching them on a 50 calica, the kind of rule of thumb is it's an hour per 100 pounds on swordfish. Kind of a rule of thumb. It's actually worked out fairly close to that.
I love it.
But we, right now, if you went down and grabbed the reel we were using and tried to pull the line off by hand, you'd probably cut yourself on the braid.
It's packed that tight.
We were trying to shorten the fight, and that's not always so easy. You know, if you get a swordfish on, the way we fish, if you let the fish do the work, what will happen is the ball lead will drop below the fish. He'll be swimming up.
Okay.
So as long as you let that ball lead stay below him, he's always going to swim away from the pull. So we do what we call walking the dog. Let him swim it up, wind the lead up. Let him swim it up, wind the lead up. So you just watch the rod go down, and it starts to come up, you wind it back down. Starts to come up.
So you're not even trying to fight the fish, you're just letting him swim up with the lead?
If they're cooperating, yes. And
okay.
Then a lot of times you'll get the fish up there really quick. Once you take the lead off, it's a whole new ball game. If he gets back down, there's nothing to make them want to come back up again, and they usually go right straight back down to the bottom. Yeah. So we've got our first mate, West, is a young, strapping, hard, strong kid, and he got to pull on two 500s and 600 blue marlin last year. I said, what do you think in comparison pulling on these swordfish that are 150 pounds? He goes, there's no comparison.
It's a different animal.
Different animal, but, you know, and a lot of people are like, why do you guys catch these things? Well, what better way to practice blue marlin fishing when a fish dogs on you than fighting a swordfish?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
they're good to eat. And
they're phenomenal to eat. Now, yes. I have a question here I want to read to you. It's from my friend Cameron out in Okinawa. Okay. I was out there 2 months ago. He says, when you guys are fishing for swords, can you give us a little advice on your thoughts in regards to positioning the boat with the current, against the current, and such?
Well, that's going to depend on where you're fishing, obviously. Our situation here is 9 times out of 10, the wind is going to win over the current.
Okay.
If you know what I mean. So you're basically going to be going down sea here. Now that's in a sport boat. It's going to be a little bit different in a center console. But basically you're going with the sea, with the wind. Because it's going to beat the current here because we have a light current. Our current here anywhere from half a knot to 2 knots. But that's like high, 2 knots. It's usually about a knot, knot and a half.
Now, what happens if you're fishing like where I'm at here in South Florida? We got to deal with the Gulf Stream. We're dealing with a lot of current. What would you do if you're dealing with a lot of current?
A lot of current, you obviously have to do it like you do in Florida, where you drop it way out and then turn around, do the 180 and go back into it, and you'd be fishing up current the whole time. And
you just keep it in gear and keep moving forward.
Yeah, it's kind of like stemming the tide in a river. You know what I mean? You just got to kind of do that.
And use a lot of lead.
See, that's why, you know, like I've seen some things on posts where, you know, the guys are, you're using an electric, yeah, it's not sport, blah, blah. They don't know. They have never caught one where you guys are. You take an 8-pound, let's say you go down to an 8-pound lead and drop that down with a hand crank 50 Talica. It's going to be all you can do to fight that back up. Let alone a pound angry fish on there.
There's plenty of times we're using 15 pounds of lead to hold bottom. Yep. And with the current and the scope, it's even if you're in 1,700 foot of water, sometimes you've got 3,000 feet of
That's a lot of scope.
That's a lot of scope that people just don't understand.
And then, you know, the bite, you've seen it. The bite's nothing. You know, you got to be paying attention. if I look from me and you're sitting there, and if I look at you and say, "Hey, Robert, I just missed a bite,"
You did.
it happens, you know, and there's not much to it. My kids, oh my God, they'll make you jump out of your skin. Whip it, you know.
Oh my God. So for the people that aren't familiar with this, describe the bite. Describe what you're looking for in the bite.
Just for the most part, you're looking for any kind of variation. You're going to see somewhat of a rhythm going on with the bouncing of the rod, and then maybe that's all. I mean, just that much. On this particular trip, they were eating so heavy, so fast. We got whacked on the way down at least 5 times, and I'd say 50% of the fish loaded the rod. We never even saw a bite. They ate it as we were winding it up. It was incredible. The bite, they must have been stacked up on top of each other, and they were literally fighting over it when it got down there.
And when you see that light little tap, what do you like to do when you see just that little tap?
Well, the common answer to that is do something.
Is that when you turn around and say, "Hey, Cap, we're having a bite"?
You know, wind it away, drop it, do something. You know.
Wind it away, do something.
A lot of times if we get a really small bite, we'll wind it away quite a bit, get the fish fired up. And over here with the lighter current, we can tell most often between a bigger fish and a smaller fish just by how hard it taps it.
Okay.
I mean, what we call a thunder bite, if you got 6 inches of rod tip moving, that's a thunder bite.
Whoa. Let's stop on this. I want to kind of focus on this. Reminds me of like being a kid with Thundercats. I kind of like this here. Thundercats! Oh! So tell me about these thunder bites.
Oh man, I mean it's like 6 inches of rod tip. The rod just goes bam like that, and your heart just drops. You know, you're just like, you're looking for this little like that, maybe this, and it goes 6 inches and slams down like that. You're like, that's a good one.
So is that when you plant your left foot, you start going around doing the funky chicken and then run to the rod? Is that how it works?
Pretty much.
I love it.
They're always right on top of it. They take turns. You know, look, the whole football thing, they're very competitive. All of them. I mean, even when we first started, we'd sit here, I'd be standing here playing fish, and Tommy and Christina would be competing in the ring toss game here.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. I caught 4 today. You only caught 3.
That's hilarious.
They love to compete. They love to do everything that has to do with fishing.
That's awesome, though. I mean,
oh yeah, can't ask for anything more.
Competition's where it's at. I have a question here from Jake Dearman. Jeff, out at the hills, do you notice a large difference between squid versus strip baits for day fishing? Seems like a ton of guys are running squid out here. So the first thing, before you go into the squid or the strips, I'm going to ask about the hills. I'm assuming that's someplace out there in Texas.
Yeah, there's an area called the Hilltops. It's just it's underwater mountains, you know, and it's a great place to start if you're gonna swordfish. That's where we start.
Okay, I just so everybody that's not familiar with Texas knows.
It's got really good structure, lots of pits and valleys, peaks, and there's just a lot of places that you can fish there. You can fish a new spot every day for 2 years.
So what do you look for when you're looking for a place to go fishing?
If your machine's good enough to mark bait, obviously you look for bait, see if you can mark anything near the bottom. I like to fish anywhere between, I don't like to start too much less than 1,300 feet. The thing is when you're dropping that down, if it sits on the bottom for just an extra second, there's a lot of tile fish here in the shallower water, and they'll jump on it in a second. And then all the way up to probably 1,600 feet, you got hake. And the hake will get on there and you won't even know they're there. So when you hit the bottom, you want to get it off the bottom as quick as possible, only because we have so many other creatures that will eat it. But I'd say my optimum depth is between 1,450 and 1,550 around here.
Okay.
I mean, I've caught them shallower. I've caught them in 800 feet trying to catch grouper before. There's no gates out there. They can go where they want to. But
when I lived in Venezuela, a lot of the guys that went grouper fishing in the deep would lose their grouper to swordfish. They'd end up catching swordfish that would eat the groupers on the way up.
I've had one eat a tilefish off a rig before, and then he popped up behind the boat, and we had just eaten watermelon, and he swam up and whacked the watermelon rind.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah, we had it all on video.
Even better. Now, going back to what Jake had asked, do you see a difference between the squid and the strip baits?
Here, yes. The current's light. So the strip bait is a little harder to drop because it's got the longer tail on it. I worry sometimes that it'll catch on the hook. But both work well. Both work very good. I personally prefer the squid.
Okay.
Every squid we rig takes roughly 30 to 40 minutes.
To rig it?
Rig it.
Wow.
Yeah. We put a lot of stitches in it.
Okay.
We connect, we have a copper tube that we run up through the squid, right through the mouth. First I pick the beak out of the mouth, run the copper tube all the way up through. You can get the copper tubes at Hobby Lobby. And then you run the line through it. Pull the copper tube out, now your line's through it. I like to have it come out through the mouth, the hook. So you're going to feed the eye of the hook up in there, and then you're going to connect the head to the body. I do like what I call a box stitch. It gets both sides of the head and the body. And then we do it we tie the eye of the hook. You got to find the eye of the hook, go through it with your needle, come out one side, go around the hook, and go back through. When you pull it tight, the hook will stand straight up. Because I like the hook to stand straight up on the side of the fish. So then you're going to do a cross stitch all the way up, and you're going to have extra line left over. You slide a crimp, and one size larger than whatever line you're using crimp. And this is 70-pound floss that I'm using. And then you put that through the crimp, and you pull the head tight, and then you crimp it. Now the head cannot squish down. Okay? Now we're dropping them head first, so you have to do the same thing by tying a knot on the hook up as far as you can get it where his mouth is. Tie a knot on the hook and then sew that to his head, so when you're dropping it head first, the body doesn't go squishing up the other way.
Okay.
I want that thing, it ends up being kind of flat. It looks a little bit like Frankenstein, but it's deadly.
I've definitely seen in your pictures mainly squid. I mean, if you're paying attention, you can see they all have squid hanging on the side of their mouth.
Yep.
And they're not destroying the squid I mean, the squid is stitched on there pretty damn good.
We've literally caught up to 3 fish on one bait before.
Whoa. You're recycling. Yep. This is like the Green Deal, man. Check that out.
Hey, no politics.
That's right. That's it. Hey, listen. There's no politics in the No BS zone. No politics.
Oh, yeah, we got to get some of those.
Oh, no. You haven't signed up?
No, I guess not.
No. We'll hook you up.
Christina or Tommy will probably, or Bill will be signing up.
So this is how I tell everybody. See this little button? You can't see it, but this button right here, if you press it, it's going to send you to my landing page. Just put it in. Just enter it in. You give me your address, and I'm giving them out for free. Just everybody that's had to listen to me for 6 weeks deserves something.
No bullshit.
Yeah, no bullshit, man. You need something. You should get like 3 Advils with it just to have to listen to my voice. I talked to somebody the other day. Somebody reached out to me, and I might have said this on one of the lives. Somebody called me up. They were asking a bunch of questions. I'm like, here, just call me. And we talked for like 10 or 15 minutes, and they're like, wow, you're actually a really nice guy. And I'm like, well, what did you expect? He goes, well, everybody I talked to said some pretty nasty things about you. I says, don't tell me. They said I talk too much. That's exactly what they said. And I'm like, well, then that's the truth. That's not bad. That's the truth.
You got to be good at something.
I know. For the first 4 weeks of this No BS thing, I was just sitting here talking to myself. I had to fill up an hour by talking to myself. So then I started, researching. I'm like, oh, I could bring friends on. This is great. Now what?
It is great. I've enjoyed watching it. Carl Allen was awesome.
Oh my gosh, Carl he's phenomenal. Pete was great the other day. Both Petes. I had Peter Grosbeck and Peter from the Billfish Foundation. I'm going to get Peter from the Billfish Foundation again on Wednesday. And then today I just confirmed I'm going to get David and Kristen Salazar from Casa Vieja Lodge. We're going to talk a little bit about their lodge. And the way I look at it, we have so many friends in this fishing industry. And right now, as people are locked up, I want to give people the opportunity to talk about fishing and for people to listen to it. I mean, how many people have no clue about how to daytime swordfish? Abdullah is watching here, and he's thanked me already once. Cameron from Okinawa had questions. Jake Dearman, he's had questions. So it gives everybody an opportunity to interact and ask the questions that they've always wanted without having to go to some seminar, which, first of all, you can't do right now anyway because of social distancing. So let's just do it on here. We have the technology, and social media is where it's at. We can push it off all over. And what I've seen is people continue to ask the questions even days after. So, which is way, way cool. Actually, what's that?
I don't mind answering questions for people. It's, that's what it's all about, is helping people. I'll give you an example. I had a guy down in Mexico, Tampico, Mexico, that was texting me when I worked on this other boat, telling me how he wanted to catch a swordfish, and he was trying, and he'd been following us and watching what we do and stuff. So I got the instant message me, and I messaged him back all the information I could possibly give him to help him. And this went on for, I don't know, like a month. And then he caught his first swordfish. And it was as if I was with him when he caught it.
How awesome is that?
He was so stoked, so happy. He couldn't thank me enough. And, I didn't do anything. I just gave him a little pointer here and there, and it worked for him. And he caught one. He's caught a lot since then.
Exactly. But when you think about it, especially in our community, and I like to describe it as it's a fraternity. It really is. Yeah. It doesn't really matter where you go in the world, and it doesn't really matter what kind of fishing you do. When you're a fisherman and you show up on a boat, I was talking with somebody the other day. I have fished in a bunch of countries where I'm the only person that speaks English. And I have to very quickly learn whatever the name of the fish is that we're fishing for. And so that way I know to call it out. One time I was in Japan. I was in Nagoya, Japan. I learned how to say billfish. I didn't know how to say marlin, whether it's blue marlin, black marlin. I knew how to say billfish. Which was great. So and dolphin. So if a dolphin would show up, I can call out a dolphin. And if it was a billfish would show up, I can call out a billfish. So I'd sit up in the tower. The only problem I had is I didn't know how to say left or right. So when I'd call out a billfish, everybody had to look up in the tower to see what side the fish. Yeah, which hand I had going on. Billfish, left long. So they got to look up, and they don't know left long. And I didn't know how to say it. And listen, I'm the guest in the country, so I got to learn how to say left or right. But we had the greatest time. And I went back to Japan this year, and I got a chance. I had lunch with my friend that I had fished with on that particular trip. And he didn't know how to do a bimini twist, so I showed him how to do a bimini twist. He's a big car dealer in Japan. And you've got people running around doing all kinds of work, and here we are tying bimini twist in his dealership.
You do what you got to do when you got to do it.
But it's great because, listen, I mean, we're fishermen, and that's our passion. That's what we love to do, and we don't.
Yeah. I'm finally starting to like this stuff.
Exactly. I've been doing this for a living now 28 years, and I like it more now than I did back then.
40.
40. Wow.
Plus.
I have so many people say, aren't you tired of it yet? And I'm like, no, I like it more now.
I grew up at the Castaways docks in North Miami.
Okay.
You familiar with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up with legends like Bouncer Smith and Jack Blackter and Terry Guthrie and all these guys that are just spectacular fishermen in an area that really is hard to fish out of.
And it's funny, you just reminded me I have to call Bouncer because he wants to jump on here next week.
Absolutely.
He is. I was just saying it the other day when he joined in that when I was a kid, my father used to talk about Bouncer. Show me different stories about Bouncer Smith. My father bought a Dusky just because of Bouncer.
Just because of Bouncer. Yeah, well, that's cool. I mean, I grew up on those docks. My great uncle had 3 55-foot charter boats there, the Helen C 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
And I had 2 mentors mainly, which were Mike and John Barker. God rest his soul, Mike. He's passed, but these guys are, my God, they made a name for themselves a long time ago. They won back-to-back Lauderdale tournaments when there was 150 boats in.
Wow.
They were the first ones to use helium in a tournament.
For their kites.
And everybody at the end of the day protested, and then the committee said, well, just because they thought of it first doesn't make it wrong.
Yeah, that's what people
now
don't...
everybody's got helium and kites.
I've seen more of those party balloon helium tanks in my life that I could ever wish for. I did, because I did, as much as I like fishing in calm seas, which I think we all do, when you're kite fishing, you don't want to have to deal with helium. You want something, because there's nothing worse. You hook up to a double or a triple, and you can't do nothing because if you go back too fast, your kites will go straight up, or there's not enough wind, they go straight down. They don't do nothing. There's never any tautness in the line. You got a fish that's pulling your kite all the way into the water. It's just a mess.
Yeah, sometimes you have to do 6 or 7 turns this way with the boat to unwrap the kite from your fight.
Man,
I had to go all the way around the boat before.
I fished a tournament. I had Pork Chop in the cockpit with me. I was running the boat, and it was gnarly out. It was blowing, and I would never let a fish get up sea of me because I didn't want to have to spin around. It was so rough. I just didn't want to have to do it. I'm like, there's no way. I don't care how far out that fish is going to string me out. You're not going to get up sea of me. No. I do not want to have to turn around because...
I remember those.
There's nothing
a lot of
brutal.
tournaments on the East Coast, and if it's blowing 25 out of Northeast, then it's going to be good for fishing. But boy, it sucks being out there all day.
But they're biting. You don't think about it when they're biting.
Exactly. You're so busy catching that you just don't really care.
All my great days, I don't remember how rough it was. To me, it was flat calm. You just get used to it. Now in Texas, and a lot of people don't think about fishing in Texas. We've talked about sword fishing. What other kind of offshore fishing do you guys have in Texas for people that aren't aware of it?
Absolutely everything. I mean, the knock here is you got to travel. 75 miles, probably the closest you're going to, as far as getting out and doing some fishing. We ran 175 miles on this last trip, one way. Yeah. But it's what you want to do and how you want to do it. The rigs that are on the edge of the shelf, you can catch blue marlin there, you can catch whites, you can catch sails. All around the rigs, you have the entire cycle of life, from top to bottom. And you've got amberjacks, red snapper, grouper. I mean, it's a great fishery. And then you go out to the floaters a little bit further out, and that's when you start seeing your yellowfin tuna.
And for people that don't know what a floater is,
it's a rig, an oil rig, but it's not actually mounted to the bottom. It's chained down there, and it moves.
It moves.
Moves.
That's
But,
no one's trying to take your boat out of the slip, are they?
no, I just saw somebody getting towed out the window there. I just wanted to.
No, okay. I mean, if somebody's if somebody's pulling your boat out and you got to go, I can wrap up without you. I don't want to, but I can wrap up without. Just say they're taking my boat.
I try to keep an eye on everything that goes down there.
You've been waiting the whole time for that one, haven't you?
You know, we try to keep it light on the boat.
Just out of nowhere, you got the glasses. I love it.
They have sitting here.
Oh, that's hey, listen. Earlier I showed you the props what my goatee looked like last week. Until I shaved. This coronavirus doesn't let us get out and get our hair done the way we're supposed to.
Yeah, well, I don't have that problem.
Yeah, well, I got a contraband haircut. We had actually Mike Samuels. He found somebody that cut hair, and they came down to the dock, and we kept socially distant, but we were on the dock outside.
So what they do? Put the trimmer on the end of a pole and kind of get close to you?
Yeah, pretty much. I had to wear like the little buff, and they wouldn't trim any of this, but they, listen. I'm not going to complain. I just wanted a haircut. But I do feel bad when my barber texts me and says, "Hey, we're opening up on Monday." I didn't want to tell him I strayed. I wasn't loyal.
Try to do you a favor here by wearing a hat so the glare doesn't screw up the video.
Listen, that's why I got to be careful where I sit, because that forehead keeps getting bigger. I can't. That's why I keep the goatee, to keep this. That's why I don't like baseball hats, but I wear a buff on my forehead just to protect this growing area of playing field.
I pull the buff over this way and let it go back like a.
I'm like a pirate.
Yep.
So, Jeff, I want to say thank you so much for joining us today, and also Christina for told you. You didn't even know when I called you. Hey, Christina told you that you're coming on my show today. She did? Yeah, she did.
Well, it wasn't that nice of her.
That was very, very nice.
All good. I mean,
Well, first of all, you guys had a great, great day of fishing. Number two, we've had a great discussion. Oh, Philip, all the way from Oman, is jumping in. I haven't even had a chance to give shout outs to everybody, but we've got people. We've had Cameroon, Oman. I've seen a little Cape Verde in here, Okinawa. I saw Spera in here a little while ago from Australia, talking about big swordfish. He caught that real big one a couple of years ago on the south side of Australia.
Yeah, I see things going on over there in Australia and New Zealand, and just, man, it's kind of like Nick Stanzik went over there and got to release one of those big monsters. Of course, he caught one down there in the Keys too.
Yeah, no, he's caught a couple of them down there in the Keys.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of big swordfish, we got Stefan Petit just joined in from St. Martin. They catch some nice ones down there as well.
Yeah, no, I saw that. I used to run a boat that spent some time down there in St. Martin. Wish I'd known that then, but that was a while ago.
Listen, like somebody already called both you and I old guys on here.
Yeah.
But
what, we still a bunch of old guys? Come on, at least we still got
we still got tread on us, man. What are you talking about? We got tread. Every once in a while the tire will go flat. We'll just stick a plug in it and we keep going. Change the oil.
But I'm as good once as I always was.
Yeah, it's better to that. You know what? It's better to be a has-been than a never will be. Anyway, well, I want you to stick around. Don't hang up just yet. We're going to say goodbye to everybody. Guys, gals, everybody that's joined us here in the No BS Zone. Thank you so much. Captain Butch Finnegan, yes, old guys rule. Big shout out to you. I saw you were getting some chemo treatment today. Thoughts and prayers for you, Captain Butch. Don't know where to start. What boat were you on in St. Martin there, Jeff?
The Marlena.
The Marlena. You hear that? Stefan was asking from St. Martin. So, All right, all you cool cats and kittens, all you fishermen, I'm going fishing tomorrow, so I will be broadcasting from the tower on the way back in. Hopefully, I think we're going. I'm going fishing tomorrow. I'm going with Mike Samuels.
Order sail.
No sail fishing. Here's the thing. I think he baited me in with we're going tile fishing, but I know I'm going to try to push him to go sword fishing.
Isn't there like one or two tiles you can keep over there?
I don't know what it is. To be honest with you, I don't spend enough time here at home to know the rule. A couple of years ago, I was in Jupiter Inlet snook fishing, and I caught a snook. I caught a few of them, but one of them in particular I picked up, took a selfie with it, and then I let it go. Some guy yelled at me, "Hey man, that one looked like it was in the slot. Why'd you let it go?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about? Today's the last day of season." I'm like, son of a... I didn't know. It's just... I go fishing to go fishing. I just, I want to get out.
Up with everything nowadays.
Yeah,
we have over here for red snapper, which is getting ready to open up.
Whoa, the endangered red snapper?
Yeah, the one that if you drop a beer can down there with a hook in it, you'll get one.
Listen, the couple of times that I've fished in the Gulf, and I've never done the offshore rig stuff, just gone out to go catch some red snapper when it was season. You actually pull up to a place, and when you put it in reverse, they come up to the top.
They come up to the boat, yeah.
It was amazing. You don't have... I see all these leads getting rigged, and what? All you need to do is throw a fly overboard. No pun intended. No pun intended. So
I've got a good friend. Do you know Andy Piz?
I know Andy very well. He's the other crazy Cuban.
Yes, there you go. He came over with the Silver Arrow and stayed in Freeport one year. And we all went snapper fishing on his boat. The boss said, if you go get snapper, I get to keep snapper. You guys all get to go fishing on this beautiful yacht. Well, we're all good with that. So we went out, we caught the snapper, and the first one I caught, now all I got left is just a little piece of skin. And Andy's up there, get yourself another bait there, Cap. Get yourself another bait. It's like, no, I'm good. I caught the rest of my fish all on that little piece of skin.
Just on a piece of skin.
He saw our rig and he was like, are you kidding me? You're going to put that in the water as a rig? He said, it's not very difficult here, guys.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to catch.
Julian, just to let you know, there's been some blackfin around off of Palm Beach mixed in with these sails that have been running. And there was plenty off the corner in the Bahamas or off the corner, north of the corner last weekend. So somebody was asking for a fishing report. Got to give it to them. That's what we're here for. That's part of the No BS. Anyway, guys and gals, thank you so much. We will see you tomorrow. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm not interviewing anybody tomorrow, but we got those lined up for next week. So anyway, thank you very, very much, and we will talk to you guys soon. Peace out, y'all.